Hello everyone, welcome to HUDM5122, Applied Linear Regression. What I'm going to do throughout this course is offer some screencasts to cover some of the content and materials and whatnot, and in particular on the use of SPSS. But in this first screencast, what I want to do is just give you a brief introduction to the course, look at the syllabus and whatnot. So, what you see here is the course page. It's going to look a little different for you, as this is me signed in as the instructor. But you can basically see what's going to be on the page. Let's take a look at the draft syllabus, and that'll guide us through the rest of the things that you'll see a bit grayed out below. So here's the syllabus itself. Lauren Fellers is our TA. I'm Michael Dean, the instructor. The office hours will be up shortly, but mine are already set, and they take place online within the course site, and you'll see that in the chat room essentially. So it's an online course. All the material will be provided online. There are in-person exams, both a midterm and a final, and you can see here that the dates have already been set, March 8th and May 4th at 7 p.m. And there are no exceptions to these dates and times. As you can imagine, that would become a scheduling nightmare. So the design of the course, essentially, back, and I'll go through this on the other page, what you have are lecture notes, and these notes, they don't come every week, but they are organized around the central topics of the course, and what you see in the later in the syllabus, the actual schedule of the different topics we'll cover. This, along with the textbook, are the main components of the content of the course. These notes don't replace the textbook. Exams will cover all of the material within all of the content of the course. So that means the assignments that you do, what are called problem sets as well, the notes, and the textbook, as well as the screencasts. So essentially, there are about anywhere from 6 to 8 assignments, and you usually have about a week to complete these, and I try to include a weekend for those who are working, but generally. And almost all of them require the use of SPSS. So please make sure you have access to that. The program is available in the TC Computer Labs, but it's also available now free to students. So please look into that. You'll be using it a lot. Assignments have to be submitted as one PDF. So make sure you know how to convert documents into PDF or combine PDFs into one. The site will only accept one PDF document. You have to upload these to the site, and you'll see it's quite straightforward. The text is Judd McClellan. It uses a model comparison approach that I like, and that is pretty generalizable to some other statistical methods and techniques. There's some other textbooks here. None of them are required, but if you want to use them, they are here. The Petazor book is one of my favorites, but it is a bit challenging from a notation standpoint, I'll admit that. If you're looking for a mathematical regression book, the Kutner book is certainly probably the most well known and also most widely used. It requires a pretty strong understanding of calculus, but it's a great book. In addition, David Howell book is quite good from a good reference stats book if you're going to be working with quantitative methods quite a bit. It's a good book to have on the shelf. You'll see in the course itself that there are also some good SPSS textbooks out there, as well as websites and whatnot. If you really want to become some of an expert in SPSS, discovering statistics using SPSS, the field book is probably the most well known, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good reference book, and it's a pretty easy read. That'll be listed on the course site as well, but field discovering statistics with SPSS is decent. The course requirements and grades. The assignments will count as 20%. They're scored out of 10. Then the midterm and final each 40%. These exams are open book, open notes. You can bring any of the course materials. You can't bring other things, but you can bring any of the course materials. You can use e-readers. You cannot use a computer for anything else other than reading the material. Obviously, no communication using electronic devices as well. A calculator will be needed for the exams. Yeah, I've already touched on the assignments. Late assignments are not accepted. You'll be using SPSS. You can contact the service desk or search around my TC website, and I believe you'll be able to find a free use of SPSS, which is really great. We've been waiting a long time for that, so it's nice that it's now freely available for home use. Here's generally the outline. This will change, of course. You'll notice that I think that the syllabus is called draft. It'll probably stay draft until the last day of the course, essentially. But what you have are the dates and the topics that we'll cover throughout. One question that's going to be asked is whether or not the exam is cumulative. It is, in the sense that everything we learn in the first part of the course you'll need for the second part of the course, but the questions themselves in the exam will focus on the post-midterm topics here. It's still regression analysis, though, so that's why I've listed all the chapters. All right, so that's essentially the syllabus. You have some of the TC policies here as well, but that is the syllabus. And so let's go back to the website and just talk through it very quickly. These won't be grayed out. They'll be opened as in accordance with the schedule of the course. So you'll have course notes, and in addition to these course notes, you'll have some screencasts like this as well. So to go along with notes 1, you'll have a screencast that really talks to SPSS. We'll cover some of the content there, but it's really how to use SPSS. But this is the content of the course here, along with the textbook. So these are my own individual notes that I supplied to you, and I think they're quite good to go along with the text itself. It's not a textbook, but they're pretty good, and they'll be important to you, obviously. So I usually open them up a day or two before the date on the syllabus, just in case you want to read ahead. Office hours will be here in the chat room. You just log in, and either Lauren or myself will be there. I'll be there on Mondays. These dates may be changed, so they probably won't appear to you yet until we have them set in stone. Here are the discussion forums. These are really important. So there's forms for the notes in the textbook. You can add a topic. There'll be some topics here already when the course begins. But if you have questions about the notes of the textbook, obviously put them here. Assignments and problem sets, put them here. And then miscellaneous. And then within miscellaneous, we'll have a discussion topic on SPSS as well with some resources. So these are very important. Please don't use them, and please don't ask course-related questions in emails. Only ask personal questions in emails, and I don't expect you to have too many personal questions, but please don't ask the content questions by email. Please come to the discussion forums. Then what you'll essentially see is assignments pop up, and these dates are not accurate, so don't try to read through them as I'm doing the screencast. But essentially, as I said, you'll have about a week to complete them. There's 6 to 8, I believe. Let's see, we can even check how many you're going to have. We're going to have 6 assignments over this semester. And you may have the data along with it. You'll have a place to upload your file. There's some instructions how to name the file. And then after the due date, of course, the key will appear. Another important part of this content for the course are the problem sets. And so essentially these problem sets will appear as well, and they mirror the content, and the keys are posted right along with them. These are not handed in. These are for extra practice, essentially. And I strongly suggest that you try to complete the problem set first. And so this first one is just talking about correlation and covariance, as correlation is a pretty fundamental part of regression. We start off with that. You should have covered this a bit already in the prerequisite for this course. But I would try these problem sets before, but the key will be available for you whenever you want to look at it. And these will be opened up, and you can see there's about 11. I'll note now, I know I'll get some questions about this, but 2 of these are practice exams. So around the time of the midterm, one of these problem sets will be a practice midterm exam, and you'll have the key. It's really just an old exam that I've given in the past. I've taught the course about, I think since about 2004 or so. So taught it for a while. It's a great course, but you'll have plenty of practicing for the exam itself, but two actual exams from the past so that you can take a look at them, one for the midterm, one for the final. And that's essentially it. And I'll wrap up this now, but more will appear, more screencasts will appear in the future, and they'll be, as I said, pretty directly connected to the content and the use of SPSS. So welcome to the course. I look forward to it, and we'll get to know each other as we go. Thanks.